Hello and welcome to my basic monk guide for Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes. In this guide we're going to be going over all of the basic attacks as well as some differences between the units. Just because a unit is a monk, it does not mean they have the same abilities or the same passives. Some units have more attacks than other units. In a combo chain, some units have different abilities that increase their damage. So in this video we're going to cover at least two of the monks. Not specifically their unique abilities, but they're just going to be present and I can just show the differences between them. So we have Lindhart and Monica. So one thing to note right out of the gate is Monk's A attack. So if I use this A attack, it's the same between units. So it sucks everyone in, it pulls them into a vortex, and then nukes them, blasting them back, dealing extremely high damage. If it doesn't kill, it'll kind of like lift them a little bit. It'll kind of launch them. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's go over the abilities. The two basic abilities a monk will have, or generally will get pretty rapidly. So, the first one is Nosferatu. Let's use it on this guy here. So it deals pretty good damage, and then it returns health based on the damage dealt. So if you hit a bunch of fodder enemies, so let's try to hit as many things as we can. If you hit a bunch of fodder enemies as well as an enemy, like an actual enemy threat unit, I guess we'll refer to them as, you will get as much health as you can get. So the more enemies struck, the more health it will return. Generally, I don't think Nosferatu is that good, and I'll go over why in a minute. You can also heal when you're next to a unit. So you can see here we have heal. You have to be next to an ally, and that ally has to have health missing. And when both of those conditions are met, you can heal them. This is really good for spot healing. Gives you extra durability on your team, especially if you're keeping your monk safe or if you are the monk. One thing you can do is you can just keep kiting, just like throwing damage orbs out and then healing and supporting your units. Enemy AI will focus you when you're active for the most part, so you can see here this is just focusing me. So if you're going to be a monk, it can actually be one of the more viable things to do, especially when under pressure, because you can just keep dodging and then just heal, and then, you know, there's different tricks that I'm going to go over soon. Okay, so the guard break, let's actually see if we can get that. See if we can get a guard break going. You can kind of see the basic attack right now. They're like, even though a lot of units will share a class, the differences between them is like pretty ridiculous. Like even just Lindhart creating these wind orbs, it's like a thing unique to him that just helps deal chip damage. And Monica has this like timed thing, and she also has an extra attack, which is crazy. Let's see if we can break this. We might kill it first, which is unfortunate. Yeah, we killed it before. Alright. But their guard break, it does pretty good damage, like they all do. But let's get into the basic attacks, because that's what you're going to be using a lot of. So, okay, so the first basic attack does pretty low damage, shoots out 3 orbs, doesn't hit too many things, because it's, you know, limited in range. So it deals the lowest damage of all the attacks, as you would expect. Let's go over the second attack now. So the second attack shoots out 4 orbs, hits a few more enemies. Another thing to note about these attacks, if I point blank something and hit it with all orbs, it does not increase the damage. So there's no upside to being right next to something and hitting it with all 3 orbs. It does not increase the damage. I'm pretty sure it doesn't increase the pushback either. Let's try that. No, it doesn't seem to. So it doesn't increase the pushback or the damage. So your first 2 hits, pretty basic damage increase on the second hit. One thing to note about damage, I discovered this while doing these tests, and I'm actually remaking this video, which is unfortunate, but your damage is accumulated. So when I do 2 attacks, it's actually adding the damage up. So the first hit for 15, in this case, let's do this. There you go. So we had a 19 and then a 43, it's just adding the damage up. Then a 15 and then a 43. A 15 and then a 39. So the 39 is not 15 plus 39. It is 15 and then it'll add in the next amount of damage and the total is 39. So 39 damage dealt total, not 15 plus 39. I did test this. I mean, I could be wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure the testing I did kind of prove this, because I hit enemy units with heavy attacks for 100 damage. It took off a big chunk of their health. I did a combo attack that also ended up hitting like a 100, and the 100 just took a sliver off instead of a big chunk. So definitely correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure that is the case. All right, so let's just go through the 4 attack chain. So the 4th attack, in Lindhart's case, he creates these cool little things. These cool little wind orbs that just like shoot for extra damage, which is pretty sick. But you can see here's the basic combo. The third hit, so there is a launch on the fourth hit. You can see there, it launches. That's useful to know because it can push enemies away. So if you want to commit to an attack, it could be useful to launch them away. Committing to attacks is like the #1 way of getting hit in this game. So using a whole entire attack chain if you're under extreme pressure is usually not advised, unless you can get off like some timed block or something, or like a timed dodge. So, okay. So now let's switch to Monica, because she has slightly different attacks. One thing that's cool about her, you might notice this like timing thing that appears above her. It actually increases her damage if you attack when it's at the center. So like if you do like this type of timing, it starts to increase her damage. She also has a 5th attack. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. She has her own unique 5th attack. She doesn't have an additional heavy attack. So if you're expecting there to be extra heavy attacks like 2, 3, 4, and then like a 5th heavy, that's not the case. But she does have this extra damage. And she can also get even more damage. She gets extra damage from the extra attack because it deals increased damage. And usually, if you're already 4 moves into a combo, doing a 5th move generally will net you more damage, assuming it's safe to do this. But you also get increased damage from doing the timing. So if we time her attacks, you can see there she's getting like insane damage off. Alright, so those are the basic attacks. Her 5th attack... So her 4th attack launches like the other one. Or I'm sorry, her 4th attack actually doesn't launch, it stuns. You can see that. Yeah, her 5th attack launches. Yeah, that's so that enemies don't get launched away before the 5th attack hits. Okay, so let's talk about the X attacks. So when I first started playing as Monk, when I first started playing as Mercedes, I had no idea what this did. This like orb bubble thing. I was like, what the hell is this? I would just use this on a bunch of enemies. I was completely clueless. And then I realized if you hit them, you get a ton of health per enemy struck. So this is extremely useful because what this allows you to do as the Monk is if you are under a lot of pressure, whoever your active character is will be who enemies focus on for the most part. So they kind of ignore other things, unless like they're really far away from you, for example. But you can see here this dude is just mindlessly chasing me. So if you have a unit that's about to die, you can always switch to your Monk and either use the heal ability, assuming that you have saved up some weapon durability to heal, or you can just kite and then just keep healing yourself. So if you're under a lot of pressure, you can just throw an X out, dodge, Y, dodge, throw an X out, dodge, Y. You can just keep hitting Y to detonate. You can start profiting a lot of health to do this. This is extremely useful for durability. Especially on your Monk. So even if your Monk is just at like half health and you just want to heal it for free, you can just switch to your Monk and do this, and it's very easy to do. So it puts orbs on dudes, and then you hit the orbs to heal. Alright, so for the next ability, this would be YX. It's a launcher. You can actually combo into this. So YX, then you can start spamming Y to juggle. This is really good. Just get damage off. If you're able to juggle an actual enemy unit, like not the fodder units, it's obviously going to help you. It's really good for like breaking armor if the enemy's armor is able to be damaged. So that's the YX juggle, and then you can just start spamming Y to start juggling. Pretty good. And then you have YYX, which kind of creates this like rain type of thing. This like rain down of like holy magic. It seems to deal like chip damage and push foes back. You can see there it does like some decent damage. It's pretty close range though. It's probably only really good for like breaking armor because it hits so many times, and for low damage, so you can kind of keep the enemy's health lower. And then finally we have YYYX, which shoots out essentially like a cheap Nosferatu. It's free, so it shoots out like a mini Nosferatu that heals, and it's like an orb. So you can kind of see here at the end of this chain. It also knocks enemies back. It can't juggle, but it will knock them back, which is useful. So you can just like hit a group of enemies. Now in terms of healing, in terms of just raw healing, the XY combo is way safer to do, as you can see here. It also generally heals more if you hit like a bunch of fodder. Obviously, I have to hit the ones with the thing on it. If they, like, start to get moved, you can kind of, like, go in between them. But getting off this combo can be decent. It can get you decent health. Like you can see there, I got 63, which is, it's not a ton, but it's something. But you can get way more off with this. Just got 63 there in less time. It's way safer to do this. You can see here, I can dodge and do this all day. So this is an extremely useful thing, just to like start refilling your health. And then once you're healthy, then you can take more risks because you have some bulk. You know, you can take a hit or two, and then you can rinse and repeat, and then you can take more risks to get more damage off. Okay, and then, alright, so we went over heal, Nosferatu. Alright, let's go over the unlocks, and then that'll be the end of this video. So, every character unlocks things differently. Even in a class. You would think a class has, like, set-in-stone things, but it doesn't. So we can switch pages. Alright. Okay, so right now, you can see we have Trust, Faith, and Heal. And Monica starts off with Fire. Lindhart, he actually starts off with Heal, so he starts off with Heal right away, he doesn't need to unlock it, and he actually unlocks a basic attack, like a basic elemental spell. So he still has Trust and Faith, so they're tier 1 and tier 2 in this case are the same, but then his tier 3 unlock, his Mastery of Monk, gets him Wind, and Monica's gets her Heal. Because she's more damage oriented, she's meant to be a damage unit, and he's probably more meant to be a healer. But funny enough, she does heal pretty well because damage scaling from her abilities and her kit increases the health return from Nosferatu in the one attack, the YYYX attack. But something interesting to note about this game is that we'll have to be pretty considerate over what each unit has. So we can actually go through some of these units. So this is similar. Hubert's is similar with the Trust, Faith, Heal to Monica. Let's just go over. Yeah, so it seems to be fairly consistent, except for a few units that are meant to be mages. And the units that aren't, it seems like they just kind of gave them a generic thing. Yeah, so you can see here that Dorothea has Res +2 Faith and Heal, so even her first ability is different. That's one thing that's going to be interesting about this game. Yeah, Res +2, Faith, Thunder, is that each unit has slight differences, even in these starting classes, so I can imagine this. So let's check out Priest. Miracle, Ward, Faith, Priest, Ploy. And then let's go to Dorothea. Miracle, Physic, Faith. So there's slight differences between the units, just like how the base game is, like how Three Houses is, where you have like a different spell list and like different passives and all these things. So that's pretty interesting. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the basic monk guide. One overall strategy that I kind of went over was this basic like X-Y combo, just to like heal yourself. This is extremely practical. So the basic guides are just kind of like an overview, but I still want to go over some things that can be used in a match if you're having trouble with like hard mode or something. And you want to hit as many enemies as possible. And you can dodge into fodder and just keep dodging, and usually avoid attacks this way. So yeah, pretty decent. Monks are actually pretty good, especially if you use it. Use this like brain. This seems to like interrupt to some degree. The rain ability I'm not so sure about. That's YYX. It seems okay, but I think the launcher is usually just better for like pushing things away from you. Unless the YYX combo like armor breaks very effectively or something, because it hits 3 times. Here, let's test it out. Okay, she's not breaking armor right now. If I can get the armor, there we go. Here's their armor break. It's pretty good. I mean, pretty much every armor break is good, doesn't matter what the unit is. It's all very strong. But yeah, that's it for the basic monk guide. If you enjoyed this, definitely like the video and subscribe. If I got anything wrong, or if you have anything to add, definitely drop a comment. Or if you just want to talk about the game in general, what you like about Three Hopes, what you don't like about it, what you're hoping for, it like makes it into the base game, because right now we're just playing the demo. One thing I'm curious to see is if Byleth is playable, and I think Crania is playable, which I don't know how that makes sense, but I think that was a thing. I don't know if that is or not. So I'm curious to see if there's like a dark side campaign or something like that. That'd be interesting. Or if we get Byleth at some point, who knows. Because it doesn't really make sense that you're fighting against Byleth. I mean, maybe in Edelgard's route it does, but the other ones, not so much. But yeah, that's it for this video. Thanks for checking this out, and peace.